Good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Nürburgring. Welcome to a very exciting video because season is just around the corner. We are today at Manthey-Racing, as you can see, if you cannot tell from the title of this video. And we are joined by GT3 MR, our friend Michael, of course, as well. And also Adrian for the fancy camera work behind the scenes, etc. So, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good. How were your holidays?
Not so good than yours, yeah, but still we're doing okay. We're currently already in high season, obviously. Yeah. So, cars are queuing up and the workshop is full. So, yeah, we were looking forward to start the season on the track.
Yeah, exactly. So we did similar video last year where we had a sneak peek behind the scenes to see what you were up to. So, and this is also what we'll be doing today, showing you what is happening at Manthey-Racing behind closed doors, to check out also some familiar cars and some actually updated products and projects that you will see later in this video. So let's get started. The first subject of today's video is this GT3 MR, because officially we have not done an official video on the car yet. I did, of course, some press releases and reading out and following the lap records, etc., etc. And now we have the car here actually officially on the channel, let's call it that way. I have to say, my biggest disappointment last year, during the last Manthey-Racing track day, I knew that Christoph was offering taxi rides, and I'm like, yes, I want a taxi ride in GT3 because the car was there. Like, yeah, no, you're only going to have a taxi ride in GT2 RS MR. So that was still good, one of the most popular videos of end of last year, but can we get a ride with it later this year, please?
We probably, I mean, we still have a car, you know, and when you're at the ring or even at the track, then we'll surely find a way. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now, okay, let's quickly talk about the car. One of the latest updates is that Mr. Gebhardt from Sport Auto has published the recent video where he did 659, and he said that the car is one of the best cars that he has ever driven on the ring. So I think that's quite a statement from a man who has driven pretty much everything. Let's do a quick overlook of what is done to a GT3 MR, what it separates from the stock car, what kind of upgrades are being done to it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just a short note on the task of Christian Gebhardt and you know what he told about the car. This is also, you know, as the kit which we're offering here for the car is an official Porsche equipment product. So this means you go to your local Porsche center in more than 30 countries meanwhile, and you just order the kit and you can get it installed there. So you don't have to travel to the Nürburgring.
Yeah, and you also maintain your warranty, I guess.
Yeah, of course. And you know, so we are out there and training technicians, sales guys and so on in order to, you know, give them more background information about the kit and its performance. The main or core topic we always address is because, you know, when people calling us saying, you know, I saw the kit, but I'm not really sure if I should go for it because I'm not Kevin Estre, I'm not Lars Karen or Christoph Preuer, whatever. So I'm not sure if I need that because I'm the limiting factor of the whole package and stuff. So what we wanted to do, and what you can also see at Christian Gebhardt, that we want to create a car or upgrade a car so that a normal driver, amateur driver, is still capable of doing quite good lap times and feeling comfortable in the car. So in best case, Christian Gebhardt as an amateur still, yeah, comes into the area of Kevin Estre with the stock car just because we did some tweaks and tunes on the car. So this is our main aim, that normal people are having fun on track with the car because it's absolutely dialed in for that.
And most importantly, what we could have seen in the past is also even more amateur drivers than Christian Gebhardt, for example. They get even more benefit from lowering their lap times because the car becomes even more stable to drive on the track. So sometimes.
And I mean, you can see it on the number of cars, you can see it on the number of track days. I mean, driving on track, like track days or Touristenfahrten, it's getting social,
yes,
to say that. You know, like 20 years ago, there were just the outlaws and the maniacs out there. And I mean, like also 30 years ago, if somebody crashed a 993 Turbo, nobody would blame the car. It was just the skill of the driver because he crashed, you know. And nowadays, I mean, those cars are really made and set up that everybody can enjoy it and drive, you know, and therefore it's far more crowded up there and people still having fun, which maybe 20 years ago they would be super afraid of doing that.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's quickly talk about the car. This is, by the way, something that we saw at SM Motor Show at the end of last year already. So the key ingredients, or let's say the key recipe of every Manthey-Racing product is, I have to disappoint the new audience who randomly ends up here, the power always remains stock, because that's plenty already and you don't need to change that.
I mean, the core points, what we are talking about is, as I said before, we want to upgrade or even tweak in the car in components which are necessary in order to make the car best drivable possible on the track. And so like in all the other cars, earlier MR and now Manthey Performance Kit cars, we take a look at the suspension, the brakes and the aerodynamics. And now on this car first, we also take a look on some optical topics, not following our founder Olaf, who said, I don't put anything on the car which doesn't make the car faster. But you know, people were saying, do you have anything where I can optically, beside the rear wing now, show that it's a Manthey car? And so we got some small details on the car, which they were really looking forward to, yeah. Okay,
cool. So, as mentioned, aerodynamics is a very big point. So you have slightly bigger wing.
Slightly.
Slightly.
Yep. On the aerodynamic package, basically what it includes is we have a bigger front lip, we have the front canards, we have the air guide elements underneath the car, we have another diffuser, and we have the rear wing. And because this question comes up quite a lot, especially from the optic guys, where people say, can I get just the canards and maybe the wing, or even the wing plate or the Aerodisc? And we always tell them this is not possible, but not because we don't want to sell it to you. But the thing is that the whole package of the aero is just tested, especially in the wind tunnel, but also on track together. So this means it doesn't make sense to use, for example, the lip and the front canards and the air guide elements, but don't use the rear wing and the diffuser because it would imbalance the car, and so we decrease the performance of it. So this is the first thing, so just the whole package works. And in addition to that, we can't sell the aerodynamic package separately, because due to the increased level of downforce, the original suspension is not optimized and set up for this higher amount of downforce. So it's also mandatory to have the suspension upgraded, and then you are more or less at the complete performance pack.
I believe the only optional extras that you can buy separately are the wheels and the Aerodisc, right?
No, the Aerodiscs are also in the package. Okay. We just separate if you have the Manthey lightweight wheels or you have the standard wheels, because the Aerodisc mounting is different on those two wheels, and so you decide more or less. First of all, you have a lift or not lift, because the suspension is different, and then you decide if you run with the original wheels or the Manthey wheels.
So two final points before we move on. So speaking of the Aerodisc, everyone, especially well, the new audience, is going to ask like, hey, is this the, should you not run it on the front wheels because for the brake cooling on the front, but it's not for the brake cooling. So I would like to hear from you what it's being used for, so we have an official statement once and for all.
An official statement is that it's the easiest way to show you have a Manthey performance kit. But technically, it's really the case that we try to smoothen the airflow next to the car on the sides. And due to the smoothen the airflow, we simply create more downforce. And therefore, in the opposite way, we can use a little bit less wing angle, which helps you in drag and top speed.
Okay, and then the final point, what is the price of this kit?
The price of this kit is $37,911, okay. Net price. Of course, in different markets there might be an exchange rate or whatever, but this is the one in Germany. And as I said, you can order it in more than 30 countries meanwhile. We also are there to train the guys. Also, all the Porsche centers need to have a Manthey alignment system, so we make sure that even when a customer goes to whatever, Romania or Finland or France, they still get the same setup quality. And of course, we also deliver all the data in terms of ride heights, damper clickings, toe camber, and so on.
Well, one more final thing, as a reminder, what was the lap time decreasement in comparison to the stock car?
Kevin was 4 seconds, but Kevin was 4 seconds. Yes. Our goal is that the standard customer, compared from the stock car to our car, is maybe even 14 seconds, just as an example, simply because it's more suited for the track, and therefore, you know, he can go faster with it.
Sounds good.
Just as a last component, as we were talking before, as I said,
we have extras.
We have the stickers, that the guys can really show this is a Manthey car and not just a standard GT3. And then you can see here, we have the illuminated door sills.
Ooh, that's nice.
And just in case you want to find your way to the car when it's dark, you have also
wow.
the lights on the floor.
It's all about individualization nowadays.
Absolutely.
And you can also get Aerodisc stickers in any color that you want.
Yeah, it's just active in the Porsche equipment finder, so it's the complete kit. So you just go to your local Porsche equipment finder in your country, and you can see all the components here.
Nice. Okay, well, let's move on to the more spicier part of this video, and something that we haven't seen before, which is behind this closed door. Woohoo! Familiar spots, familiar cars. We have 3 red ones and, well, 1 lava orange as far as I can tell from here, and 1 black. So we could have been a full red spec. I'm also actually, by the way, wearing a red Manthey-Racing shirt. You can order the merch online, I guess. So.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. So what do we have here today? Tell us, Michael.
So we have today in the workshop kind of a mixture between, you know, season prep, revision, upgrades, and some new builds. So if we just start on the first, here we have a customer car which is stored at us during the year. So the customer has his own garage here. We offer more than 100 garages to store cars.
What's the cost of the storage?
The storage is 185 euros per month.
At least it's not 911 per month.
No, no. And
it's a joke because most of the prices for the MR kits, they end on 911, so that's why.
Yeah, and well, the thing is, you know, we have quite a lot of inquiries for that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people like, especially when they are not from Germany, or even if they are from Germany, if they come from the south or whatever, and they have quite a long way to drive here, they prefer to store their cars here and drive here relaxed, keeping their license. And just maybe also
we keep the mileage down as well of the cars.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, if you come from the southeast of Germany and you almost kill 1 set of tires just on the highway, and your girlfriend is mad because the car is loud and she can't phone, and you know.
We all know these issues.
Yeah, especially on that car. So I can tell you, on that car, on the highway, you just can do 160 because then the exhaust valve opens, and then it's really tricky to phone.
Still better than GT4 RS, because there you cannot even do 130 without becoming
deaf.
I
mean, if you do 130 in second gear and you rev up to 9, then it's really shit, but yeah, the thing is that we, as I said, we have quite a lot of cars here in storage. And what we also, I mean, this is maybe an explanation also, we are not estate brokers. So we don't want to rent out garages to anybody who's just searching for a garage. So imagine somebody calls you and saying, can I store a 918 at your place? And you think, oh, supercar, cool. And you say, what are you doing with the car? It's just storage because, you know, I don't drive the car. this is not our customer.
Yeah.
So we don't want to rent garages, but we are a company who upgrades cars and services cars. And for us, we prefer GT4 who runs throughout the season than a 918 which doesn't run any time in the season. You know,
makes sense.
So that was the idea behind. And here now, as you see, especially before the season starts, we do some season preps. So for example, we are checking the thickness of the PCCB discs in case there are actions necessary, like changing wheel hubs and the center lock nuts, because you have to do this on those cars every 10,000 kilometers track use on the rear and every 20 in the front. Then, of course, in case there are services, in case there are any mandatory TIs which are shown from Porsche in the system, which appear to the car. So this is especially now because you know, once you do your last track day or your last tourist ride in October, and then you more or less forget about your car until March, and then suddenly the season starts, and then, oh, sorry, can you take a look at the car? So we always inform the customers. What we also do end of the season, we do a browse through the garages, and we put the battery packs on. We also check if there are any services, so we can do this during the off season more or less. Yeah.
So this car is just regular maintenance before the season starts in 2 weeks time roughly, so people can enjoy this car. And I know the owner of this car quite well, and he only drives it on your track days actually, pretty much. When's the first Manthey-Racing track day this year?
In May.
In May. Well, excited for that, excited for that. Okay.
Yeah, and especially, you know, I mean, I don't know if you got it. We have 4 track days this year.
Yes.
May, July, September, and October. The first 3, I think, the first 2 were sold out within 2 days.
Yeah.
And the other ones shortly after. So we're really happy to have such a demand. And, you know, of course, customers call us and say, I heard about, and do you have still a spot? And we say, we only can do a waiting list. So also here, if you want to apply for a Manthey track day, I would recommend to sign up for the newsletter on our website, because then you get an email when the dates go online, and then you have a chance also to reserve a spot.
And the customers with the MR package have guaranteed a slot, at least, I believe. That was in the past. Maybe not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we have our customers, and they know about. I mean, they also just wait for the email, and then they book through all the time. We had a customer who said he missed to book last year, and he said, you know, it's such a tricky thing to get your spots and to, you know, see the email and book. So can you do me a favor and book all track days for me in the next 5 years? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it was an all-inclusive inquiry, but that's also not possible. But yeah, I mean, we are still dreaming about a track day where we only have Manthey performance kit cars on, because then it would be really, you know, the average speed would be quite okay, I think.
Yeah.
But of course, still everybody is warmly welcome. Yeah.
As long as it's a Porsche brand car.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next Porsche brand car with signature lap record red, Indian red color.
Yeah, it's quite interesting if you talk to the guys here at Manthey and you talk about their favorite color, especially when it comes to the GT2. The majority will choose the red one, not because of the color. I still think the color is great, but it's like, you know, it's the history of Manthey, the first attempt where we were checking to get back the fastest lap time from Italy. And therefore, you know, there is quite a lot of story behind the color red. And here, this customer, he purchased the car and he wanted to go for a full Manthey performance kit. And so we just finished it. We're still just waiting for the Aerodisc stickers, but anything else is done and it's ready for the season,
So that's what's being done to this car. Again, similar to the GT3 that we discussed in the beginning. No power upgrades, mostly aerodynamics, significantly bigger wing, something that we're gonna talk more about at the end of this video actually, and slightly more aerodynamic upgrades over the GT3 or GT3 RS, since there is no GT2 RS version of the 992 version. Getting very complicated here, but yeah, I'm sure you can browse through one of the older videos where we go very much into detail over GT2 RS MR. It needs an MR sticker. That's also what's waiting.
Yeah, the problem is that the MR more or less disappeared as soon as the kit went to an official Porsche product, because you know there are some legal actions and also some copyright actions. There is for example, a Japanese car brand who has an MR in one of their models, also a 2, but not so much horsepower. And so therefore we had to more or less cancel the MR topic. Also there are some other things, if you think global or worldwide, that for example, especially US guys who are not into the topic, they suddenly are asking, why is this a Mister? Yeah, and especially when talking about genderism and stuff, then there's another question.
I thought I had issues as a YouTuber in 2023, but this is a whole new level.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next car, which is GT4 MR. What's being done to this?
Well, this is already a completely MR-equipped car, so it has the full kit on. And we're now just doing some upgrades in terms of front cage and roll cage enlargement, get a second harnesses, a 6-point, and we also have a different setup for Cup 2R tires, so we will adapt the suspension. We're getting some different springs, and yeah, it's also maintenance for the customer. Just got the car, and yeah, he also owns another track day car, which is a BMW, and he really loves it, but I think he wanted to have a car where there is also an active AC in, to enjoy the track in summertime and not being super sweated after one lap. So yeah, people are getting adult, and then they think about those advantages as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Like, I'm done, especially racing cars without AC, or like building cars, and just to get rid of like 3 kilograms for something, like go to the gym and get rid of 3 kilos on yourself. Anyway.
I mean, you know, if you see the guys running around in the parking lot and they have that 2 wet stripes here, you always know that he has a light white car, but he doesn't enjoy it at the moment.
True, and then he is gonna lose seconds actually because he's losing concentration. But that's a topic for another video. And then I guess we ended up at the last car, but actually a more interesting one, because it's pretty much a new product that we see here. And for the older audience, more recurring audience, you can tell me what is actually new to it. 3, 2, 1. The wing, because this is a Gen 1 of 991 GT3 RS. And as far as I remember, the big wing was introduced on a Gen 2 package of a car. So why is it now all of a sudden here?
Yeah, the thing is that basically the big wing was first introduced on the GT2 RS.
Yes, correct.
And then due to the fact that everything was already developed, we switched it to the Gen 2 GT3 RS. And you know, from time to time we had inquiries, and they got more and more for the big wing on the Gen 1 car, you know. And we first refused to do it because it would mean another R&D step, and is it worth it because the car is getting older. But we figured out that especially those cars, they still have fans, and we even have customers, they for example run a GT2 RS or a 992 GT3, and they still have a Gen 1 991 RS in their garage, because it's still, you know, it's the first 991 RS car, and it's still an awesome car. So price performance wise, this is still one of the best cars you can get today, you know. And then we had one really hardcore questioner, also YouTuber and influencer, who said, I want to have it, can you do it? And then finally we said, okay, we can put it on his car and test it on his car. And we did that, and surprisingly, or not surprisingly, but happily, everything worked out just like we calculated before. So we only had to do some small tweaks on the suspension. And therefore we decided, okay, let's go for it, you know. And what we do is not only the big aero package, but it's also, we switched the suspension to a three-way, four-way, because originally on the Mark I RS, it's only a three-way, front and rear. Yep. And then more or less we switched to the suspension from the Gen 2 car, which is the new technology, especially in the rear, which helps you with the higher downforce level. And anything else, more or less, is like on the Gen 2 car. Only thing is, we put an eye on the overall costs, and the overall costs are 41,911 net price, and the Aerodiscs are not included, so we wanted to more or less keep the prices a little bit low. And of course you can go for them optionally, but it's not basically in the kit. Mm-hmm. And this is now, we already converted some cars. This is one which is now in. The customer brought the car, it was stock, and we converted it to the big kit, and we just now got it back because the customer did his very own livery on the car and got it to a wrapping company to do that, and now it's back in to do the final preps, and then it's ready for the season as well.
Mm-hmm. I must say it looks amazing. The big wing always transforms the car, and also with Gen 1 makes me want one even more now. Like you said, it's probably the best, one of the best cars when it comes to bang for buck. Yeah, well, more on those dreams later on. Just one more thing regarding the four-way adjustable, just so we get it clear, you have the high-speed, low-speed, rebound and compression, both, and then additional, the height would be then the fifth one, optionally. And yeah, that's, I guess, kind of it what we want to say, because it's been already a long video, but you surely can browse all the chapters. I'm sure you know how to use YouTube by now. And yeah, I guess thank you very much, Michael, for this very long but interesting tour behind the scenes. I'm very much looking forward to see what else you have in store for us this year. GT4 RS MR, maybe you should already something.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the customers or people are of course asking, and our goal is surely to expand the fleet of GT models with the Manthey performance package on. I can tell you that there will be further models available and kits for further models. And I mean, when you see in the configurator at Porsche on GT models, you can see what is not equipped with Manthey yet, but we try to close that gap in the near future.
And finally, of course, if you have a Porsche, you can still build your own MR, because the same guys who run the Grello and also this year DTM cars, we'll talk about later in an upcoming video, can build anything. I mean, we had the perfect example of 996 GT3 last year, so even if you have a GTS or just a Carrera S come by, and I'm sure they can make your car far more track optimized than you ever dreamed of. And also with non-Porsche brands, there's Raider Motorsport, and that we'll talk about in one of the upcoming videos. So stay tuned, subscribe, like and share, give Manthey-Racing a follow, and see you at one of your track days.